Today, we're cracking open one of the world's oldest books of wisdom, the I Ching, and we're going to see how its ancient advice can actually serve as a practical map for our very, very modern lives. So let's just start with this question. What if a text that's over 3,000 years old wasn't really about telling the future, but about understanding the present? What if it could offer a clear, timeless framework for navigating the challenges and opportunities that we all face? Well, that's exactly how we're going to look at the I Ching today. We're actually going to go on a kind of life cycle journey, and we'll be guided by 4 key hexagrams from this ancient text. It's a path that'll take us through the seasons of our lives, from building success to exploring new horizons, adapting to whatever change comes our way, and finally, finding real joy in connection. Okay, so our journey begins right at the peak, with hexagram number 55, abundance. This is that season of building, of achieving, and of really enjoying the fruits of your labor. The imagery for abundance is just so powerful. It's thunder over fire. So think of it like this. Fire is the light of wisdom, that clarity you have inside yourself. Thunder, that's the powerful action and execution you take out in the real world. So when you combine that internal wisdom with external action, boom, you get this explosive, firework-like success. But, and this is so important, the I Ching reminds us that every peak is temporary. It's not forever. Just like the sun at midday or a full moon, the absolute height of abundance naturally leads to a period of decline. Now, this isn't a failure. It's just the rhythm of life itself. And you can see the two sides of that coin right here. I mean, on the one hand, when you're at the peak, it is a time to shine, to act righteously, and to celebrate. But on the other hand, true wisdom means using that brightness to see what's coming. You have to prepare for the inevitable decline, saving and planning for a future season when things might not be quite so plentiful. So the big lesson from this season is to be decisive, to act with integrity, and to know when to push forward and when to just pause. But most importantly, the I Ching warns against hoarding your success. True, lasting abundance is what you share with others, not what you lock away just for yourself. So if every peak is followed by a decline, what comes next? Well, a lot of the time, it's a journey into the unknown. And that brings us to our next season, hexagram 56, travel, the season of exploration. The image here is fire on a mountain. It's like a beacon in some unfamiliar landscape. Now, this is not about a vacation. The text suggests we can think of it as business development in foreign markets. I mean, how modern is that? It's really about stepping out of your comfort zone to explore fresh opportunities, whether that's a new job, a new city, or a totally new project. But here comes a critical warning with all this exploration. When you enter a new environment, showing off your past successes, your treasures, is a recipe for disaster. It just attracts the wrong kind of attention and creates resistance. So what's the solution? Well, it's to travel light. You enter new territory with wisdom, with humility, and a really deep respect for the local culture. You adapt to your new surroundings instead of expecting them to adapt to you. And the practical advice here is just timeless. Be prepared, but be humble. Treat people with respect. And don't be afraid to aim high because even an attempt can get you noticed. But be very, very careful before you make that exploration a permanent move. Okay, so we've built success and we've explored new ground. Our third season is all about navigating the world we're in with real skill and grace. This is hexagram 57, wind, the art of adaptation. So this hexagram is a double wind trigram. Think about wind. It's gentle, right? But it's also incredibly persistent. It flows around obstacles and it finds a way into every little opening. This represents the power of influence, of adapting to your environment, and of skillfully riding the currents of change rather than trying to fight against them. So how do you actually harness the wind? Well, the I Ching lays out this beautiful, really simple cycle for sustainable success. First, you plan carefully. Then, you act. And crucially, you learn from the outcome. This plan, learn, grow cycle makes sure you're always adapting and improving, never just staying static. The wisdom here is just incredibly strategic. It says to find a good leader or a good trend to follow. Gather diverse opinions, but don't get stuck in what we now call analysis paralysis. You have to eventually act. And above all, never get complacent. The moment you stop adapting is the moment you lose your edge. And this brings us to our final season. And honestly, it might be the most important one. After all the building, exploring, and adapting, what's the ultimate goal? The I Ching suggests it's hexagram 58, lake, the joy of connection. I love this. The I Ching says, a wise man communicates and learns together with his friends. I mean, after all that individual striving, the ultimate fulfillment isn't found alone. It's found in community, in sharing knowledge and experiences with other people. The image is just perfect. Two lakes joining and becoming one larger body of water. This is joy. But not that fleeting happiness you get from external things. This is the deep, harmonious joy that comes from mutual support, from trust, and from genuine togetherness. And the lessons here, they're profound. True joy is an inside job. Chasing it through external validation or possessions is a path to disaster. It's built on trust and sincerity. But it also requires wisdom. You have to be careful who you trust. And finally, you can't find joy by being a people pleaser. It has to come from a strong sense of your own identity, which you then get to share with others. So we've journeyed through these 4 pretty distinct phases. Now, let's just bring it all together. You see, what the I Ching gives us is not some rigid set of rules, but a map of the seasons of life. There will be times for building and for abundance. There will be times for exploring the unknown. We will always need to adapt to the winds of change. And ultimately, fulfillment is found in deep, meaningful connection. This ancient wisdom teaches us to use foresight when we're on top, to practice humility when we're in new territory, to adapt strategically to the world around us, and to find our ultimate joy in connection. So, the final question then is for you. As you look at your own life, your career, your relationships, your personal growth, which season are you in? Recognizing your season is the very first step to navigating it with wisdom.